animation experience at Conservation Station. Since the 1930s, Disney animators have put their pencils to paper in service of the idea that the greatest inspiration often comes from the magic of nature. Walt Disney himself understood the importance of spending time around animals, studying their behavior and personalities in order to create realistic characters and dynamic storylines. This meeting of the human and animal worlds sparked a legacy of storytelling that has shaped our relationship with animals and conservation forever. Today, we invite you to become a part of that legacy as our own Disney artists help you learn to sketch characters inspired by the very animals found here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Get your pencils ready, because here comes our animation artist now.
Hey everybody, welcome to the animation experience! Hi, my name is Joshua, I'll be your instructor for this class. Before we get started, I just want to go over a few housekeeping items. All right, now with all that out of the way, in this class here today, we're going to be teaching you how to draw a character from a classic 1980s animated film, The Fox and the Hound. We're going to be drawing the Hound part. We're going to be drawing Copper.
Yay.
I'm glad that 4 of you are excited. Since we're drawing this character, I would love to bring a whole bunch of puppies into our theater and just have you be inspired by puppies. But unfortunately, we don't have any puppies to unleash into our theater. So instead, we're going to show you a whole bunch of baby animals to inspire you to draw a baby puppy. So, are you guys ready to see a bunch of baby animals?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
A baby meerkat is a playful kit. A little seahorse is a floating fry. A beetle, a wiggly grub. When you think of a hatchling, you may think of something like this. But since a hatchling comes from an egg, it can also be a reptile, amphibian, or fish. When you hear colt, you may think that is a baby zebra name. Strangely enough, it can also be a chick of a crowned crane. And if that's not confusing enough, this short, stocky rhino is a calf. And so is this 6-foot-tall baby giraffe. Luckily, these two, called piglets, look similar, both with pivoty snouts. The baby warthogs excitedly running tails in the air, and baby red river hogs wallowing without a care. Whether they come as one or as many, covered with fur, scales, skin or feathers aplenty, whatever you call them, no matter the name, we will care for each of them deeply, just the same.
All right, one more thing before we get started. You may have noticed when you came into our classroom today that your pencil is missing an eraser. And that is actually on purpose because unfortunately we just don't have a whole lot of time in this class here today. So we're not going to be doing any erasing. What we're going to do is we're going to draw very, very lightly because the lighter you draw, the less you'll have to worry about any mistakes that you make. However, if you do end up making a mistake, I want you to be like Elsa and let it go, okay? Now, if that does not help your mental health, then may I remind you that outside of this building, erasers still exist. Yes, they're out there. And your paper is portable, and you can bring your paper to an eraser and use that eraser on your paper. Yes. And that's good from now until the end of this paper. Okay? Now, to further speed the class up a little bit, we've also already went ahead and drawn all the guidelines for you. Guidelines help artists know where to put things on character faces. So we already have those guidelines on there for you. If you're an artist, you would do all of this yourself. Okay? Now we're actually going to add 2 more guidelines to our what we have here already. For our class. What we're going to do is we're going to take our circle here. So you'll notice that the circle is kind of cut in half here. What I want you to do is I want you to go to either side. I want you to cut it in half one more time. Okay? So very lightly, you don't want to press too hard with this. 2 more lines right on either side here, nice and light. Okay. After we're done, I want you to draw another line going from left to right. This time, I want you to put it right below this curve here. Okay, so just go right across the circle here, just like so. There we go. And we have 2 extra guidelines here. Now we're going to use these to position Copper's eyes. Now his eyes are pretty easy to draw. You're going to sort of start right where the lines meet here. And we're basically going to draw into ovals. Now, if you're really bad at drawing circles, you're really good at drawing ovals, because ovals are really bad circles. So just draw 2 really bad circles, and you've drawn Copper's eyes. Now, when you're drawing a young baby character, there are several things you need to do to make sure that they look like a baby character. The first thing we've already done. Giving him big eyes, okay? Another thing that we need to do is give him big pupils. So we're gonna go inside those eyes, and we're gonna add pretty much the same shape. Now our goal here is to try to make Copper look like he has that same face that maybe your dog at home has when you come back from the mail after, you know, being gone for like 2 minutes. Now Copper is a bloodhound. Now, bloodhounds are known for having lots of wrinkles, even at a very young age. So we're going to draw some wrinkles here on Copper, and we're going to start in this kind of left quadrant here, right over here on the left side. Right above the eye here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in essentially what we call an S curve. Now, it's called an S curve because it makes kind of like the letter S. And you'll notice that I'm actually going to go into the eye just a little bit, okay? And you want to do that on both sides. But not only does it look like the letter S, it also kind of looks like the back of a bird. Like the top of the hook there is like the head of the bird, and this is like the back. So when you're done with that, we're going to go ahead and draw the bird's belly. So we're going to start near the end of the head there, and we're going to draw a backwards letter J that comes around the bottom of the eye. Goes back under the tail. All right, those are the first 2 wrinkles. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. I'm going to darken in part of the eye that's visible. Only the part of the eye that's visible. So if it goes behind the wrinkles there, we're not going to trace that. But everything else, we're going to go ahead and trace. Also, to give our Copper a little bit more realism, I'm also going to add in a little bit of reflection of light inside of his eyes by just adding in a tiny little oval. Now you can put these wherever you want. You don't really have to put them exactly where I put them. That's up to you. When you're done, we're going to go ahead and just shade the pupils in. Now shading is not a very important step, so if you don't get this done right now, don't worry about it. Not a big deal. Now, another very important part of drawing a young character is you have to make them look young and innocent. And to do that for most young characters, we add in eyelashes. So we're going to start at the top of the eye, and I'm going to draw an extra little curve that's going to come out of the top of the eye. When I'm done, I'm not actually done, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to thicken that up as much as possible. Just thicken that up with a nice big eyelash. Regardless of the gender, a lot of times artists will add in eyelashes because it makes them look a little bit more innocent and young. Next, we're going to go ahead and draw in some more wrinkles. This is going to be on top of his forehead here. So we're actually going to start at this top part of the circle. We're going to start very close to the middle guideline, and here on the left, what I want you to do is I want you to draw almost what's going to look like a staple. It's curved. This looks like a staple, but it's curved. Now, I want you to do the same thing for the right side. The only difference is, this time, we're going to connect this to the circle, to the right side of the circle. So it's the same shape, but we're going to connect to the far right side of the circle. Now, the reason why we're doing this is because his head is going to be tilted a little bit differently on the right side. So we're going to connect that to the circle. And now we're going to bring down the opposite end down to that little curve there on either side. So I'm going to draw another curve. Now here on the right, we're just going to trace a little bit of the circle until you get down at the bottom, and then just curve that back out there, just like so. But that's not all the wrinkles we're going to draw. We're going to draw some more wrinkles. These are kind of like his eyebrows, okay? Dogs don't really have eyebrows, although they can kind of mimic the way that we use our eyebrows a little bit. That's because they've been around us so long that they've kind of picked that up. We're gonna add in some more wrinkles here on the forehead. I'm gonna start here on the right side. I'm gonna trace a little bit of the circle, and then I'm gonna curve it and make this big wave shape going all the way to the other side. Then I'm gonna do one more right on top of that one. This time, when I get to the left side, I'm actually going to trace the circle, and I'm going to trace it all the way down to this guideline here on the left side, and then it's going to stop for now. And at the very, very top, I'm going to add a little bump on top of his head. So there you go. There's a nice, big, wrinkly forehead. Now, Copper, believe it or not, is not the only bloodhound in all of the Disney characters. In fact, there's actually a lot of Disney characters that are bloodhounds. But does anyone know the most famous of all of those characters? Anybody? Shout out your answer if you know.
The Bloodhound and Lady and the Tramp.
No, not the most famous. No. Anybody?
Pluto.
Pluto, yes, whoever said Pluto, you are correct, because Pluto is a bloodhound as well. Now, if you said Goofy, I just want you to know that Goofy is not a dog, okay? He is a man with dog features, okay? He spent way too much time with his dog, okay? Because you know how your dog sort of kind of looks like you after a while. It's the first half of the Goofy. All right, so next, we're going to go ahead and add in his nose. And we're actually going to start right here at the very bottom of your circle. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw in an upside down and very rounded triangle. Okay, so it's a triangle, but no sharp points. Everything is round. Round, round, round. Okay, and then right above the nose, I want you to draw in another curve. This curve is going to try to make his nose look a little bit three-dimensional. So when you're done, draw in some diagonal lines coming down from each side, coming down to the end of the nose. This will give it a 3D effect. When you're done with that, go ahead and shade in that triangle nose. Okay? Now, dogs can have anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 times better sense of smell than we humans do. Which is why you may see dogs do a lot of different jobs out there, because they have a lot better sense of smell than we do. To give you a perspective, a lot of dogs can smell things in different ways than we can. So for example, let's take the most perfect food ever made by human hands.
Chocolate?
Pizza.
Yes.
Okay? Now a dog, when we smell pizza, we can probably tell what type of pizza it is, or maybe where it's from, but that's about it. However, dogs can smell what cheese you've used, what spices are in the sauce that you used, what kind of sauce that you used, what kind of bread and bread dough that you used, and nothing else, because that is the perfect pizza, you know, with pepperoni and all that stuff. That's it, okay? They can smell all of that, and they can actually categorize it in their brain and know exactly which type of pizza it is. They also know how long that pizza has been there and where it's going, where it may have gone from. They can smell all of that, okay? So next thing we're going to draw is the rest of the muzzle. This is going to start right above the nose we just drew, and we're just going to draw a nice little curve right above the nose. A little longer than the nose itself. And then from the end of that curve, I'm going to go down at an angle. It kind of looks like a flat top mountain. Then I'm going to add in a little curve at the end, going down to that curve there at the bottom, but it's not going to make it. that on either side. Now, what is this little curve here at the end? Well, this is actually his dimples. Now, if you don't know what dimples are, smile, and you'll feel them right there at the end of your lips. It will put your cheeks up when you smile. Now, we're gonna come here to the bottom of this curve here, right below the nose, and I want you to draw an upside down letter V. Now, you can overlap it a little bit if you'd like. That's up to you. We're gonna draw an upside down letter V here. And then at the end of either side of the dimples here, I want you to draw a curve going down for a little bit, and then it's going to curve out to that V shape, not only making his muzzle, but also the sides of his smile. Now, dogs, like cats, do have whiskers. Although generally dogs don't have very long whiskers. And since, of course, Copper here is a puppy, he's gonna have even shorter whiskers. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna draw 3 little dots on either side of his muzzle there. Just little dots, that's all you need to do. Next, we're gonna draw in his mouth. We're gonna have his mouth open. We're just gonna, you'll see this guideline here at the bottom. Just a little bit above that, I want you to draw a little line here. Line there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the bottom of the mouth, or the muzzle here, and I'm going to add in essentially a curved letter L. I'm going to go down to that line. I like to do one side and then the other. I mean, if you can do both sides, that's fine. I'm going to do one side, then the other. There we go. There's his mouth. Now, inside his mouth, we're going to add in essentially a jelly bean kind of shape for his tongue. Now, earlier when we talked about dogs' sense of smell, you probably were wondering, okay, so dogs have a really good sense of smell, so why in the world do they drink out of my toilet? Well, there's a reason for that. Here, before we do that, let's go ahead and shade that negative space between the top of his tongue and the bottom of his muzzle. And the reason for that is because, well, dogs don't have as many taste buds as we do. So even though they have a really good sense of smell, they don't have a very good sense of taste. So a lot of times when a dog smells something that's interesting, the only way they can touch it and feel it is, well, with their mouth, okay? So a lot of times they'll just put it in their mouth and then they think it kind of tastes good, then they eat it. So there you go. Mystery solved. All right, starting at the bottom of the line here, we're gonna go ahead and add in his bottom lip. Now this is going to be a little bit longer than the actual mouth. And then we're going to start at the end of the wrinkle, and I'm going to follow the curve here until I get down to the bottom. Once I get down to the bottom, I'm going to break off, and I'm going to attach that to that bottom lip. And that's going to go on each side. Now, another very important part of having a young character is, well, we already gone over, you have to have big eyes, you have to have the eyelashes. So what else do you need to add to a young character? Well, they need to have big, chubby baby cheeks, right? Now we already drew the outside of the cheeks. Let's draw a little bit of the inside. So we're gonna actually come down here to the bottom of the eye. And I'm just gonna add an extra little curve across the bottom of the eye there, almost kind of mimicking the dimple here. So give those nice big baby cheeks. Okay. Now, bloodhounds, like Copper, are not only known for having lots of wrinkles, they're also known for having very, very long ears. In fact, so long that a lot of times puppies will have a hard time walking around because they always trip over their own ears. Now, how long do we have to make Copper's ears? Well, that's a good question. If you look at your paper, you're going to see 2 guidelines near the bottom of your paper there. That's as long as his ears are going to go. Okay? Now we're going to start actually at the bottom of the head here, right near the mouth, and I'm going to draw in a curve, and this curve is going to go right down to that guideline. Right down to that guideline, right in the middle. And I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side, although I'm going to curve this a little bit more, just to just give it a little bit of difference. Curve that a little bit more. All right, I'm going to come back over here to the left side. Remember where we stopped tracing over here on the left side? Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to fill that hole there with essentially a candy cane kind of shape. Okay? Essentially it's going to look like a candy cane. Okay? Now from the top of that candy cane, I'm actually going to pull this line down and I'm going to bring it down past where the mouth is. Okay? And I'm going to taper that line off, which means it gets a little bit thinner as it goes. Now before the end of that line, I'm going to break off from there. I'm going to draw another curve. It's going to come down and attach itself to the other part of the ear. And now you have his left ear. We also want to draw the inside of the ear, which is basically follows the other part of the candy cane down past the cheek. And I'm going to draw a nice little curve coming down past the mouth. Now we're going to do something similar here on the left side. We're going to start below this guideline here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a curve, going right from the head down to that little wrinkle. And then I'm going to go above that guideline, and just like I did on this side, I'm going to draw a long curve that's going to go down past the mouth. And then again, just like I did on this side, I'm going to draw another curve coming off from that, down and connecting to here. Here on this side. And then just like I did on the other side as well, I'm also going to go ahead and add in a nice little curve coming down past the cheek. And there you go. Now, this area right here would be Copper's neck. And again, since Hound dogs have a lot of wrinkles, you can also add some wrinkles here on his neck as well. He doesn't have a collar on just yet. Spoiler alert for a 40-year-old movie. He gets his collar when he gets a little older. So, now this next step is completely optional. You don't have to do this next step if you don't want to. This is entirely up to you. But there are some very dark parts of Copper that you can kind of shade in. Now, first, around the eyes are very dark. So I'm going to take my pencil, just turn it sideways and just lightly shade that in. Also, his ears are actually dark. So when I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and shade the ears in as well. And one more thing I want to leave with you before we get to the end of the class here is this. If you decide to get a dog, do yourself and your future dog a favor. And before you decide to get whatever dog, whatever breed that you want to get, make sure you do as much research as you can before getting that dog. Every dog breed has different requirements, different health problems that may occur, and different things, different eccentricities that you need to know about before you get that dog. So please, please, please do as much research as you can before getting yourself a pet. And that really goes for any pets besides dogs. Do as much research as you can before getting yourself a pet. And once you've done enough research, once you've figured out what kind of dog you want, or maybe brought it down to like a couple of breeds that you'd like, do yourself a favor and go out and find an adoption agency or animal shelter near you and adopt your dog at one of the animal shelters, because there are some really great dogs that would love to be adopted, and they will love you even more. Don't go shopping, adopt your dog, because that helps those dogs out greatly. All right. Now, I see a lot of you are looking at your drawings right now, and I'm sure a lot of you are going right now, wow, that looks amazing. And there are others of you that are looking at your drawing and you're going, wow! But regardless of how you feel, I want you to hear something you've probably never heard before. You've probably never heard this in your whole life, but I'm gonna tell it to you right now. Are you ready? If you attempted to draw Copper in this class here today, regardless of how you feel your drawing came out, I want you to know that you are not a terrible artist. Let me say that again to you. You are not a terrible artist. However, if you want to become a much better artist, I'm going to challenge you to keep on drawing. Don't worry about failure. Don't be afraid to fail. Just keep on drawing, because the more you draw, the better of an artist you become. So that's my challenge to you. Now, regardless of whether you want to become a good artist or not, you should be proud of the drawing that you did here in this class today. And just like any proud artist, you can sign your work. You sign your name, and you can also add today's date too if you'd like. Today's date being July the 9th, 2022. Now, in just a moment, I'm going to dismiss you from our class. But before I do, I would like to go over 3 very, very important things that I would like everyone here in this class to do before you leave, okay? So listen up, because these are 3 very, very, very important things, okay? Number 1, after I dismiss you, I would like everyone here to look around your seats. Make sure you have all your personal belongings with you. Even if you did not place anything on the floor, please just double check. Make sure you have your backpacks, your purses, your bags, your children, all that need to go with you, okay? Number 2, the clipboards need to go right back on the seats and place them exactly the way you found them. We would greatly appreciate that. And number 3, those pencils, well, those are our free gift to you. Hooray! However, if you do not want your pencils, it will not hurt my feelings. As long as you place them in the recycling bin by the exit, we would greatly appreciate that, okay? Well, folks, I had a great time. I hope you had a great time, too. And if you get nothing else out of this class, remember to keep on drawing on 3D and rock on!
Yay. Thank you everyone for joining us. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Oh yeah.